if you find the guy. I'll finish you today for sure.
Forgotten Worlds, or Lost Worlds in Japan, is a side-scrolling shooter video game by Capcom. Originally released as an arcade game in 1988, it is notable for being the first title released by Capcom for their CP system arcade game hardware. Forgotten Worlds can be played by up to 2 players simultaneously. The player controls a flying, muscle-bound soldier armed with a rifle with unlimited ammo. The controls in the original coin-op version consist of an 8-way joystick for moving the character in the air while flying, and a unique rotatable button known as the roll switch. Rotating the switch left or right allows the player to adjust their character's aim in one of 16 directions, while pressing it causes the player character to shoot his gun. This allows for the player to move their character anywhere while keeping their aim in one direction. The player character is accompanied by a satellite module orbiting near him that will provide backup firepower every time the player fires their gun. Like the main character, the satellite can also be rotated with the roll switch. The player can obtain blue coloured coins known as zenny from defeating enemies throughout the game. Zenny is used as currency to obtain new power-up items from shops located at certain points in each stage. When the player enters an item shop, they are given a choice of the items available and a limited time to make any purchase they wish. These items consist primarily of new weapons for the satellite module, but also include a health kit to restore lost vitality, armour that allows the player to sustain additional damage, and even tips on how to defeat the boss awaiting at the end of the current stage. Forgotten Worlds consists of 9 stages, each with its own boss. The player will lose if their vitality gauge runs out, but will be given a chance to continue. The game took 2 years to develop, with a production budget of $5 million and 4 megabytes of sprite data. During development, Capcom tried to make the game easier to play, having received criticism about how hard it was to dodge enemy projectiles in previous games. As this was the first game to use the CPS-1, Capcom tried to fully maximise its software capabilities. The game did not generate enough income upon its release due to large numbers of shooter games in the market, and there were increased expenses due to a shortage of chips needed for the CPS-1 boards. Forgotten Worlds is a game that was just released too late in my opinion. The visuals, although still impressive, looked a little dated for 1988, but would have looked excellent in 1986 when its development cycle began. The cutscene stills, however, are excellent and still look good today, almost 35 years later. The same for the shop girl. These large drawn characters giving an early glimpse of what the CPS-1 hardware was capable of producing. The sound was bang average in my opinion. There are lots of different explosions, bangs and other sound effects, but as you hear these constantly, the sound does get very graining and irritable after only a few minutes. I had to play this game on mute for this video. It was beginning to irritate me that much. The gameplay needs a comment as well. This was a game that needed its own cabinet due to the roll switch being required for gameplay, and so as a result of that, it didn't appear in many arcades in the UK, or, well, none of my local arcades had it anyway. So the first time I played this game was on the Megadrive. But thanks to the control method used in the Megadrive version, I was able to replicate a similar method on emulation, and so can play this game pretty close to how it would be played in the arcade. And I can say that had I played this back in the day, I would probably have loved it. It is surprisingly addictive and very challenging, but what I can't put my finger on is why it is addictive. Maybe it's because finally, after all these years, you can play it at home the way it was meant to be played, or something. I really have no idea. A mate of mine at school had this game for the Megadrive, and as far as arcade ports go, the Megadrive version of Forgotten Worlds was an excellent conversion. Instead of the roll switch, you had a fire button, and the A or C button rotated the satellite and the player either forwards or backwards, depending on the button pressed. This system actually works very well, and was the same approach I used when playing the arcade game on emulation. The Megadrive version, as usual, has everything scaled down in size for the visuals, and some of the backgrounds are missing details, but apart from that, it's all there. The sound too in the Megadrive is also less annoying, due to the inferior sound chip, I imagine. Gameplay wise, it's pretty much spot on, and with 2 players, this is an excellent little game to play. The challenge has also been toned down from the arcade, but so what? It still provided a decent enough challenge. and you can always change the difficulty setting in the options anyway. This was an early release in the Megadrive's life, and was one of those early must-own games for fans of the arcade. But it wasn't a game I was ever going to buy, having never played it in the arcade. I didn't want to spend £35 on a game when I knew that Golden Axe was due out in the UK imminently. Overall, Forgotten Worlds is a bit of a forgotten classic. Praise should go to the developers for being able to faithfully reproduce a game that was built on much more powerful hardware, and for their ability to adapt the control method to suit the Megadrive. I can't imagine what this game was like to play on home micros, but it must have been awful. I would say to anyone who hasn't played this game already, then give it a go and see what you think. It's definitely worth a blast. And that's all from me, folks. Please feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching.